Hello, I am Love Tucker, the fantastic Brooklynite, born and bred. You know what it is. And, I'm just Adonis's mom. Mm.
Yeah, you can't go from mid-tone, mid-high. Who is Love Tucker?
So we're going to start with hard questions, I see. Maybe it's not that difficult. Love Tucker does not like labels. So I'd say Love Tucker is an ever evolving super human.
So I want to talk about Love Tucker, the author. What's the significance of your book and the title 2024?
Okay. So once upon a time, many, many moons ago, when I was in high school, I never read the classic books, like all the books you were supposed to read in high school. I don't know why I never read those. Maybe because I was reading too much Shakespeare. But I read George Orwell's 1984 after the fact. Still freaked out about that rap scene. But I couldn't help but notice that there were so many things that were pertinent about that book. And so I thought, okay, well, 2024 is a little nod to that. But it really kind of came from when Barack Obama, still my president, was elected. And that first week, the Republicans were so obsessed with him that they got together and they said, oh, you know what, we're going to make him a one-term president. That didn't work. But I kind of figured that once they got back into power, they really go crazy. And the first thought I had was, oh, they're going to get rid of Roe versus Wade. It really was kind of a shocking thing because I never really thought about whatever their agenda was because I'm not a Republican. But it became very clear what their agenda was going to be. And I was right.
So those that don't know and may have heard this or hearing this for the first time, tell us briefly a little bit about Roe versus Wade.
You'd be living under a rock if you didn't know what Roe versus Wade was. But it is the Supreme Court case that ratified abortion rights across all 50 states and all the subsequent territories like DC and Puerto Rico. We keep forgetting that they are part of the United States also. So that particular case gave everyone who has a womb the right to have an abortion, not saying that you have to, but you have the right to do so if you feel like this is something that needs to be done. And it's not just about, oh, well, I don't want to have this child. It's, there could be something that happens to the mom if you do not abort this pregnancy, or there are lots of defects that are happening right about now. And sometimes for the health of both that unborn child and the mom, there needs to be a surgery that's done. And there isn't an emotional component about it. But these very snowflake Republican men seem to have a lot of emotions about it.
Yeah. So going into 2024, your book, tell us some of the things that you envisioned, prophesied, saw happen, and that came to fruition.
Oh no. It's so many things.
Give us two.
Two were that mass shootings were going to increase. There's a one chapter that's in the book about that essentially there's like a protest that happens after a mass shooting, and then everybody just gets up and goes home because that's essentially what happens. Oh, we're very upset about another mass shooting, and then nothing happens. And the biggest one was Roe versus Wade being overturned by Dobbs. That was not the plan for it to happen by 2024, but I guess I was spot on. I should have made a bet with somebody.
Tell me the lotto numbers of today. So now jumping to your title,
Invisible is,
Invisible.
yes, invisible is about, mm, invisible is really about things that happen in society that really happen in families, the dysfunction is really about sexual perversions and things that happen that you get a glimpse about, maybe you've seen, but people ignore.
So that makes me ask you, why do you take such serious types of concepts, ideas, things that go on, and put them into a book?
Well, reading is fundamental, first of all. I'm a reader. I love to read. I'm reading multiple books at the same time. But reading is generally an independent, individual, solitary kind of activity, right? And a lot of these subject matters we don't speak about in polite society, but we have thoughts about them, we have feelings about them. And if you're reading it, you might pause and really kind of rifle with, okay, you know what, how do I really feel about this? What do I think about this? Is there some way that I can affect change about this? And hopefully people do.
Got you. So overall, what do you want readers to take away from each novel or both novels?
Well, the easiest thing that I could say that I would want people to take away from the books. I do my own version of an Easter egg because I love movies also. Every book that I would write is going to have a message, and that's the takeaway. The message is always the first word and the last word. Um, I don't know if I could curse. Okay, because I did think that it would be funny for a book to start with a curse word. So the message of 2024 is fuck hope. And the message behind that is like vote, have some action about your life. And Invisible's message is pay attention, especially the things around you. Don't ignore children's behaviors, especially don't ignore the signs. You can take action.
Nice, nice. So are your books aimed at a specific age group, generation, or everyone can use this awareness?
Well, I would say everyone can use the awareness, but because of the language and apparently some erotic nature of the books, you'd have to be at least 18. That would be the caveat in terms of buying, but there are messages for everyone in there, I feel like.
Got you. So now that you mentioned it, did you purposely set out to write erotica?
No, but she is a sexual being, so that would naturally kind of go in there. And it's part of life.
Got you, got you. This is true, this is true. I want to hear it. So sticking with writing, how do you set the mood to write? Do you set the mood, or is there any particular things you do when you like writing, like one sock, candles, incense? Is there any type of quirks or anything when it comes to you sitting down writing, or is it getting in your head and then you go on and writing? What's your process?
This is really funny because I was listening to a meditation today about rituals, and I didn't really think that I had a ritual when it came to writing, but I actually do. I write what I call a bit of a skeleton. So it's kind of like the points that I want to get through at different parts of the book. I write down all of the characters' names pretty much. I have a thing where I want to have characters from A through Z. So I start writing down people's names and plug them in as I go. But I generally find I don't like to write at night. I generally like to write during the day, usually between 12 and 3. I sit down at a desk, laptop. I know, old school. Laptop. I like classical music when I'm writing. But other than that, no. I've learned to set a timer, at least 20 minutes when I'm focused in writing, at least 20 minutes, sit there and write. the timer will go off and I'll probably keep writing. I'll finish a chapter or something. But I would say that's probably my process.
So you said something that I definitely want to hear your answer to. When you're writing a chapter, how do you know when that chapter's done?
Oh, I think my leg stops bouncing.
Okay.
Like I'm always, writing, writing, writing. And I don't know, there's some kind of feeling that comes over you because there's a message that you want to impart in every single chapter that leads to the next thing in terms of the whole. And I'd say, oh, when I stop, I always get this feeling like, have I impressed myself? Like, oh my gosh, did I write that? That's the feeling that I get. Then I know the chapter's finished.
Got you. Excellent, excellent. When did you know that you had a gift to write? Two-part question. And when did you say, I'm going to be an author?
All right. The first question first. First things first. I don't know that I do. I don't know that I do. Have any, yeah, I don't know that I do. But I know I wanted to write because I've always had stories going on in my head. And hopefully that wasn't like I was crazy, but it was just a natural thing to just come up with, oh, I think I just had an epiphany. And that is rather deep. So, what just flashed for me was my very first memory in life. It's about to get really deep and dark. Sorry. Very first acknowledgement of life was I was being molested. And a child who is molested generally comes out of that in their head and they could tell themselves a story. This is why this happened. This is why this happened. This is how you should feel, etc. And I think that's where that comes from. Not saying every writer has been molested or anything, but for me, I always look for a reason, a why for everything. So, if this thing happens, I immediately, without even thinking about it, start thinking, well, this must be a reason, or this can be a reason. And I've learned as I got older, stop doing that. That might not be the reason. Don't, jump ahead. But I think that's kind of where it comes from.
Huh. Sorry to hear that.
Wow.
Do you find yourself writing from that pain of the days when you were molested?
I would say I don't write from that pain, probably because one, I've been to therapy. So that has helped process that. And I don't hold on to that because that's not mine to hold. It wasn't my guilt. It wasn't my shame. And it's not. That was something that happened to me. It wasn't something that I was affecting. So I'm not coming from a place where I'm like, let me purge that out. No, I think sometimes other people may need to purge that out. And if I can help affect that, if I can give a safe space for that, I'm happy to do so. But for me, no. I can't say that there's pain there still.
Okay. So
which is good.
What advice would you give someone that's an adult now, or even a child, male or female, that is currently going through that situation or has gone through that situation from your experience with therapy?
One, absolutely go to therapy and go to therapy for as long as you need to go to therapy for. And try different therapists. Because not everyone's technique is going to jive with you. And even if you can't go to therapy, and I say therapy because therapy is an objective person who does not have any opinion on your life, who does not have any judgment, and who isn't going to bring up any of the information that you said later. At least not in a way that they can weaponize it against you. If you can't do therapy, journal. That's private, that's to yourself. I have so many journals that I just realized I should probably take them to a shredder or something because I don't need to hold on to that. Yeah. So that's a nice safe space to just write, 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 write. In that way, you can get it out in some way, shape, or form. Because if you keep that dis-ease within yourself, it's going to affect you in some way, shape, or form physically. So get that out, get that emotion out.
Got you, got you. So I'm gonna spin it back real quick to this to the book. One second, but I just want to hear your thoughts on this as I listen to you. What advice or conversation needs to be had if an adult such as yourself or male is dating someone that was molested as a child? How was that space encountered? How would we deal with that? What's the conversation would be like to a male or female, coming from a male or female, to an individual that has been molested in their youth?
One thing that I found very interesting is a number of people that I have dated, and I date men. Sorry, ladies. Uh, that have been molested, family members, strangers. Um, and I would say, from the male's point of view, what I found very interesting is that I'd say a good more than half do not want to feel as though they're a victim. And they spin it in a way that, oh, I wasn't molested. I was just, this older woman. And I'm going, you realize you were molested, right? So I think providing a safe space where, like I used the word weaponized earlier, where it does not get weaponized, it does not get revisited. This thing goes in the vault, and the behavior that I exhibit towards you is always one of safety moving forward in the future. That's, I think, the thing that hinders both sides from speaking about something that 1 out of 4, like the last statistic I remember, 1 out of 4 males has been molested, 1 out of 3 women. That's a lot of people. You come across so many people. That's a lot of people in some degree. So if we just keep holding a space where each person can speak about their experience, there's not judgment, there's not shame, there's not, oh, I'm going to joke about this later. No, none of that. Just conversation. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, it can be, I feel like the healthiest conversations are in public and in private. So we could quietly be sitting at a coffee shop and have this conversation, and maybe someone hears. They might be shocked, but they might need to hear it too. Because the problem is that we keep speaking about these things in dark shadows, and that's where they stay.
Excellent. Love it, love it. Are your books available on audiobooks?
Okay, that's just me. I am getting the audiobooks out by 2025 because it occurred to me, oh wait, I really like audiobooks now too, and some people have dyslexia and reading is not that fundamental for them. So audiobooks, working on it, 2025.
Excellent, excellent. How can people purchase your books now, currently?
They are available on Amazon. I just figured out how to do those QR code things. So now I walk around with those.
And Amazon is the only place right now currently they can get them if they can't get in contact with you or reach you personally.
Oh, well, yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, they could get them directly from me, then I would order wrap them.
Got you. And how can people get them directly from you? Is there social media, or what's the best way to contact you for?
Oh, yeah, I'm easy to find, unfortunately. Facebook, Instagram. I'm trying to get my TikTok game going. It's not working out so far, but slowly but surely, then TikTok too.
Got you. All right. Give us the titles of those books again.
2024, as in the year that we are living in now, and Invisible.
All right, all right.